Item Number SCP-2140. Object Class Thaumiel. SCP-2140-1-D is considered neutralized. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-2140 poses no threat to Foundation personnel. Deployment to counter hostile SCP-2140-1 instances under the conditions of Appendix A is authorized. Expanded deployment against other threats must be approved on a case-by-case basis by O5 Command and the Ethics Committee. Every possible effort should be made to prevent creation or discovery of additional instances. Any person exposed to, or possessing significant knowledge, as defined in Appendix C, of any SCP-2140-1 instance is to be terminated, amnesticized, or exposed to SCP-2140 at the discretion of the Strategic Threats Officer. The fragments of the only known copy of SCP-2140-1-D are permanently sealed in secure deep storage at the facilities listed in Appendix E. Description: SCP-2140 is an image derived through Project Kalin-Nikos from SCP-2140-1-D. SCP-2140-1 instances are alternative versions of the image. All instances depict glyphs in the redacted script. While it is possible for persons of any background to view isolated portions, 100% of persons who view a complete SCP-2140, regardless of medium, are loyal Foundation personnel with 2/2140 clearance or higher. These persons invariably have highly corroborated personal histories, with multiple eyewitnesses, known Foundation colleagues, and documentation consistent with this profile. The presence of corroborating physical evidence supports the hypothesis that this is a retroactive alteration to personal history, such that the person will always have been a loyal Foundation employee with appropriate clearance. It is suspected that this anomaly follows a path of least resistance and alters the minimum necessary number of events. See Appendix B. No record exists of any experimental test subjects, such as D-Class personnel, or any person lacking appropriate background and clearance viewing the complete image. SCP-2140-1-D was first located at the redacted dig site a few hundred kilometers west of redacted Uzbekistan. Irregularities in the dig team's reports were noted, and due to the nature of the dig site, a memetic hazard was suspected. MTF Eta-10, See No Evil, was deployed and faced heavy resistance from the dig team. The researchers and security personnel were later discovered to have been a covert cell within the Foundation dedicated to the retro-creation of Redacted and were killed resisting capture. Footnote 1. Ultimately, MTF Eta-10 suffered 3 casualties as a result of SCP-2140-1-D exposure. Agent Swanson was presumably exposed first and then deliberately affected Agent Kims and Okoro. Subsequently, these 3 agents were discovered to have represented another deep cell, despite originating on 3 separate continents and knowing each other for less than a year, and were killed attempting to access SCP-Redacted. Following recovery, Project Kalin-Nikos was enacted. The project's separate teams analyzed sections of SCP-2140-1-D in isolation. Their findings were given to the compartmentalized implementation team, which was then able to produce a working prototype of SCP-2140 with 0 exposure to the original. All members of the project, including all personnel exposed to early prototypes, were subsequently exposed to SCP-2140 and amnesticized. Supplemental reading regarding SCP-2140. A short story titled Database Error? Begin story. Email from Junior Researcher Will Jameson to Technical Researcher David Rosen regarding database error? Hello, Researcher Rosen. Junior Researcher Will Jameson here. Writing to report possible error in the database. According to the Record Keeping and Information Security Administration, I'm granted Level 2 access to SCP-2140 despite me being a Level 1 personnel. Furthermore, I have no prior or current project tied to SCP-2140. I suspect a system compromise. Can you please look into the matter? Sincerely, W. Jameson. Rosen looked at the new email in his inbox and groaned. His eyes shifted to an adjacent monitor with the tab SCP-2140 Access. Geez, what's with all these people asking me about 2140 clearance? Rosen switched to another tab labeled Templates for Known Issues and scrolled down to the relevant issue. Issue: SCP-2140, Level 2/2140 clearance. Hi, insert name of personnel. I have checked with Resi and find no irregularity with the system. You are cleared for Level 2 access regarding SCP-2140. For certain SCP objects, personnel can be granted higher levels of access compared to their actual security clearance. It is mentioned in the employee guide, so I would suggest reviewing that again. Rosen copy and pasted the template as part of his response, editing only the necessary. The end result was, "Hi, Junior Researcher Jameson. I have checked with Resi and find no irregularity with the system. You are cleared for Level 2 access regarding SCP-2140. For certain SCP objects, personnel can be granted higher levels of access compared to their actual security clearance. It is mentioned in the employee guide, so I would suggest reviewing that again. Rosen." Quickly, Rosen clicked send and moved on to other similar emails. Will Jameson was inside a courtroom standing behind the bars of the accused stand. He looked out at the judge, who read out the sentence. "And you, Will Jameson, are hereby declared guilty of the murder of Cronus Jameson," announced the judge. Will Jameson sprung up from his bed, with cold sweat down his face. He was inside his bedroom in the staff dorm at Site 742. It was nighttime, 03:30 local time precisely. Jameson grabbed his head and shook it. "That dream again," he muttered, as his free hand switched on the lamp. With the slightest bit of illumination in his room, Jameson regained his composure and opened up the drawer. Inside were snippets of newspapers encased in plastic wraps. On top of the small pile was a newspaper clipping stating, "Phantom stabbing. Cronus Jameson, 62, was found murdered in his home, stabbed by an unknown attacker. No traces indicative of the attacker are found at the scene of the crime. There is no indication of breaking and entering." What do I got to do with Dad's death? He wondered. The next morning, Junior Researcher Jameson prepared another workday at Foundation Site 742. Located in Sarawak, Malaysia, Jameson ultimately felt isolated as a foreigner in this country and as a newcomer in this site, or the Foundation in general. He approached his desk and set up his desktop. While his hands moved about to clear his desk, his mind was fixated at the dreams that haunted him so. Maybe it's guilt, that I couldn't prevent Dad's death. Yeah, definitely guilt. Dreams are rarely literal, he thought. "Morning, Will," someone greeted Jameson. Taken aback, Jameson snapped back into reality and was greeted by researcher Nurul, his colleague and senior in the Foundation by 9 months. "Hey, Nurul," Jameson replied, as Nurul took her seat in a cubicle next to Jameson. "You look kinda shell-shocked," Nurul inquired. "You still thinking of the locals at Kuching who gave you the weird looks on Friday?" "Don't be. Those guys were just jealous that you can travel and work abroad and see other cultures, you know?" "Thanks, Nurul, but I won't let some complete strangers ruin my day." "Sure. If you got any problems, don't be afraid. Help is in the desk beside you." Nurul winked at her recently arrived colleague, pointing at herself. As their conversation ended, Jameson's desktop was ready. He accessed the internet and ran through the email. There was a new message, a reply to one he had sent a few days ago. It was the reply that David Rosen had sent earlier, stating that he had Level 2 clearance to SCP-2140 and that he should look at the employee guide again. Looking at the email, Jameson gave out a sigh of relief that all was normal. But the question remained, what was so special about SCP-2140 that he could access it? Must be one of those general reading files, like Able, or those chairs, Jameson thought, as he changed tabs to access Resi. He continued to type in his password and access clearance, gaining access to SCP-2140. His eyes skimmed through the document. Some primitive artwork from Uzbekistan. Jameson summarized, his eyes turning to the attached image files and their captions. The first of the files attached was the image itself, SCP-2140 itself. It was a set of symbols that is all Greek to him, with the Foundation logo at its center. While this should be the first time he saw the symbol, Jameson just kept staring at it. "This is... Oh, got problem, I see." Nurul peered from behind Jameson. "Nurul, please stop creeping up from behind," Jameson insisted, his gaze switched to his colleague. "You're checking out 2140, I see," Nurul quickly deduced. "No biggie, I'm cleared for it too, and so are our other colleagues here. 2 over 2140, right?" "Yeah, must be those under general reading," Jameson reasoned, causing Nurul to make an X-mark sign with her fingers. "Incorrect, rookie. General reading is denoted by the SCP number, followed by the letter G in caps and square brackets. 2140 is not under general reading," Nurul explained. "Read the employee guide again, smart boy." Say, Nerul, do you think we are what we are? Jameson asked. I mean, as loyal Foundation employees. Don't tell me you're creeped out by 2140. Nerul rolled her eyes. Look, that attitude won't get you far in the Foundation. Besides, let's take a look at the document here. Nerul leaned forward and pointed at certain passages on the screen. No record exists of any experimental test subjects, such as D-Class personnel or any other person lacking appropriate background and clearance viewing the complete image. See, no inappropriate person was tested this SCP before, she explained. And the personal history thing is only a hypothesis, as stated there. Go read the academic journals. Dr. Vang wrote his own theory of it being a mimetic kill agent for spies and double agents. Yeah. Maybe I'm having an existential crisis, Jameson admitted. Comes with the job. Get used to it, Mr. Loyal Employee, Nerul smiled, as she walked off while humming to a song from her childhood. On the hand, Jameson continued looking at SCP-2140's documentation and his eyes browsed through the captions. Area 313 Deep Storage. Area 313? Oh yeah, I was there for orientation, he realized. As the day ended and most matters settled, Jameson went to sleep for the night. Like previous nights since his employment with the Foundation, he dreamt. Jameson was seated in an auditorium. It was full of other people, all of them wearing orange jumpsuits with numbers on them. He too was wearing the same orange jumpsuit. Guards armed with truncheons were stationed at the doors of the auditorium. On the stage, a stern, elderly lady in uniform stood at the podium. On the breast pocket of her uniform was the emblem of the Foundation. Good afternoon, boys. Welcome to Area 313. Rejoice, for you will be offering your time and selves in service to all humanity, she spoke.